Given an angle, we can find the sine or cosine or tangent or cosecant, secant, or cotangent ratios associated with that angle using a calculator. So on the first one here, we're asked to find the sine of 62.5 degrees. So the first thing is we have to make sure that our calculator is in degree mode, not in radian mode, as we'll need for the second example. So as long as your calculator is in degree mode, then we can just type in sine of 62.5, and we get an answer of, if we round to the nearest thousandth, 0.887. For the second example, we can see that there's no degree symbol like there was in the previous one, and the tell on this one is that the angle is given to us in terms of pi instead of as being a number like what we saw here. That's not always a certainty that it's going to be in radians, but this time for certain it is. So that means I need to convert my calculator into radian mode, and then I can find what the cosine of 2 pi over 3 is. And so if we do that, we get an answer of negative 0.5. And yes, you can have negative answers for these questions. You can also have undefined answers at times. For the next one, we have to make sure that we're not deceived, because if you notice the difference between this one and the one right above it, there's no degree symbol. And so that means that the measure of the angle is being given to us in radians rather than in degrees. So even though there's no pi in the measurement, we can still give radian measures as just regular numbers. So we have to look very carefully to make sure that the angle that's being given to us is in degrees or is it in radians. So in this case, because there's no degree symbol, we know that to be radians, and so that means we're going to leave our calculator in radian mode from the last question and then take tangent of that 62.5, and so we get an answer of negative 0.345. The next one again also is in radians, and it's cosecant. If you're working with just a regular scientific calculator, there's no cosecant button. But we know that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. So what we can do, if we don't have a cosecant button on our calculator, we can find what the sine of 1 is and then take the reciprocal of that. Basically do 1 divided by that answer, sine of 1. So again, we're in radians here, and we need to take the reciprocal of sine of 1. If you have an advanced graphing calculator, you can dig out a cosecant feature somewhere in one of the menus. But I think it's probably just easiest to do this. So we do the sine of 1, divide that by 1, again making sure we're in radians, and so we get an answer of 1.188. For the next example, again, there's no degree symbol, and the measurement is given to us in terms of pi, so we can remember that that's pi radians there. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so instead of digging out through the menus of our calculator to find a secant operation, we can rewrite this as 1 over the cosine of pi. And so now we can enter that into our calculator, and so this one comes out to be a pretty clean answer of negative 1. And then for the last one, so this time cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, and we're back into degrees, so we have to shift our calculator back into degree mode, and so we can rewrite this as 1 over the tangent of 1 degree, and so now we can just enter that into our calculator, and our result on this one is going to be 57.290 if we round to the nearest thousandth.